All right, so let's go ahead and get started, everyone. Welcome to our webinar series with Drupal for Gov. My name is Nina, and I'm one of the coordinators here. So let me just start with what to expect from Drupal GovCon in Baltimore Camp for 2020. So as an open source community for developers with an interest in making government open to open source. So that's kind of our mission, and we offer events like Drupal GovCon, as well as our webinar series, which is held once a month, every third Thursday of the month at 3 p.m. And then we have our big annual conference. So with the events, we have half days, and well, not right now because of coronavirus, but we have a bunch of different events that happen throughout the year. So you can always contact us at drupalforgov@gmail.com, join our Slack channels, and then also tweet us or join our Twitter accounts as well. So if you miss a webinar, we have it on our YouTube page, which you can find if you go to YouTube and search for Drupal for Gov. They're all there, and we've curated playlists as well. I highly encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, because we have videos from past conferences there too. So it's a really great opportunity to sort of catch yourself up on what's been happening with Drupal GovCon and Drupal for Gov webinar series. All right, so we have Jess Deary, who's going to be presenting for us today. Jess is an IT specialist with the EPA and has just launched a Drupal-based intranet for the agency. Jess is the Drupal for Gov Vice President and the co-lead for Drupal GovCon annual conference. She also spearheads the Gov Summit held during Drupal Con North America. And out of the office, Jess has a loving family of 4 kids, 2 pups, and a second career in the National Guard. So she is quite busy. Before we get started, we also have merchandise that is available for purchase. I highly encourage you, if you like our shirts, we've had them every year, you can also purchase them this year, and it really supports the organization. So that link will most likely be in our chat and available on our website, drupalgovcon.org, I believe, and I'll get that correct if it is the case. So thank you so much, and I'm going to turn it over to you now, Jess.
Thanks, Nina. Let me go ahead and just go ahead and share my screen here in a second. Should be quickly. Hopefully you guys are now seeing my intro slide. So welcome everybody. So this year, I think not just for us with Drupal for Gov, but for everything has been unprecedented. 2020 continues to throw all sorts of different and exciting things at us. We in the Drupal for Gov planning team decided when it became very clear that we would not be able to host an in-person event, that there was still value in being able to provide a virtual event. While we have a focus on our government family, we also support nonprofit and then just those in the local DC area. We realized by going virtual, we were also going to be able to reach a larger community of people that work in those industries because we're not limited just to our physical space. So Baltimore Camp, which is, maybe what, 50, 60 miles away from where we are, also hosts an annual event. And since it didn't seem to make sense that we would have virtual events essentially back to back, we reached out to that team and said, hey, let's just kind of combine our efforts. Let's have a single combined event that we can host using the dates that they had set aside. So that's where we are today. Drupal GovCon, Baltimore Camp 2020 as a virtual event. So today I'm going to kind of talk about what you can expect. The event stretches over 3 days, starting next week, Wednesday, September 23rd through Friday, September 25th. I'm going to go over the technology that we're using and how you can participate, what to expect on training day, as well as the main event, which spreads over Thursday and Friday. Yes, we're doing BOFs. Yes, we're going to do networking. Yes, we're still doing contribution opportunities. And naturally, we still need volunteers. So this, I don't know if you realize, but this entire event and every event, every year, all the time, is entirely volunteer run. There's an opportunity for everybody to participate. If you're planning on attending a session, consider volunteering to be a room monitor to help during that session. Lots of opportunities, and we'll go over what those are. So let's talk about the tech first, right? How are we accomplishing this 3-day event? Well, our primary method for audio, video, and screen sharing is going to be through Zoom, very similar to the platform we're using right now. We understand that lots of govies, as well as just others in industry, may not always have access to Zoom. We have some government agencies that have actually completely blocked it and do not allow the use of it. So as an alternative, we will also be live streaming each of the sessions through YouTube. In addition to the opportunity to participate live through Zoom or YouTube live streaming, we're also going to be recording the sessions and they'll be made available after the conference. How do we handle Q&A, and what about things like hallway conversations, right, that make some of these events so great? Well, our Q&A for individual sessions will be taking place in Zoom. So if you're able to participate through Zoom, you can certainly place your questions directly in the chat box. We aren't able to do live Q&A through the YouTube streaming, but we've set up a Slack team, and within the Slack workspace, there are channels for each of our sessions. And so, channels for each of our session tracks. And you can certainly post Q&A in those areas as well. And as long as we have enough volunteers who are able to monitor both the questions that come in through Slack as well as room monitors in Zoom, we'll be able to capture all of those questions and ideally be able to read them back to the presenter when they finish their spoken portion of the session. We can then have a room monitor read the questions off and have them answered. So whether you are able to participate through YouTube Live or through Zoom, we're hoping that you'll still be able to participate in the Q&A through Slack. So the address to the Slack channel is right here on the website, or on the screen, drupalgovcon2020.slack.com. We have invite links in lots of different places, multiple Slack channels. We've posted it to Twitter a couple of times, but if you need an invite, please let us know. We'll try to get the invite link dropped into the chat box of this webinar as well. So please consider pre-joining and taking a look at some of the channels that are there and some of the conversations that are already starting. Accessibility. So our plan at this moment is to have all sessions and keynotes live captioned. We're currently working with a vendor who's supposed to be providing those services, and that is our goal. And we have some training sessions that are being held on Wednesday. And when people register for a training event, they have the option to identify if captioning would make the training more accessible to them. So we're doing our best to support every attendee. If you have a special accessibility need that is not being met or you are concerned about, again, please reach out to us. We'll do the best that we can with the resources that we have to make the event accessible to everyone. So I mentioned session links, right? And I talked about Zoom and I talked about YouTube, but how do you get those, right? What are those links? Remember, we're going to have, I believe it's 4 separate rooms that are going to be active all day Thursday and Friday. The sessions begin as early as 10 a.m. and will end at approximately 6:15 p.m. in the Eastern time zone. The schedule, whether you are looking at it, the full schedule using the Thursday, Friday filter, or you've taken advantage of the My Schedule feature and built your own schedule, the primary video and alternate video links are going to be displayed on the session. So whether it's on the teaser view of the session that is displayed in the schedule or the individual session page that you might be reading the full description on, that is where those 2 links are going to display. Now here's the catch. You must be logged into the website and have a ticket to the 2020 event, or those links will not display. So if you're looking at the schedule and you don't see the links, 1, validate that you're signed in. If you are signed in and you still don't see the links, go to your user profile by simply clicking on your username from the top right-hand corner and scroll down to the registrations area of your profile. If you don't see a 2020 ticket there, that means you don't have a ticket for this year's event, and you'll need to go ahead and register for one for those links to show up. Okay, this is just helps us control access to all of the different virtual rooms in a way that's a little bit more organized. So again, you must be logged in and have a ticket, or you will not see the links to the different rooms in the schedule. So training day, what's that going to look like? Well, Thankfully, we have some phenomenal sponsors out there who were still comfortable offering the quality training that you've come to expect at Drupal GovCon, and they're offering them virtually. So we have a full schedule of training on Wednesday. We call it our training day, or the day A of the conference. There are half day and full day training classes that are being held anywhere from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The class descriptions, as well as separate registration links for individual classes, are available on our website. So underneath the program menu, you'll see a link for training. That page has a listing of all of the trainings that are currently being offered and links to register. Registering for training is a separate process than registering for the event. Our training sponsors are managing their class sizes themselves, so they have separate signups so that they can actually have targeted communication to class attendees to talk about things like prerequisites or anything that you might need to do to prepare for the class. You will need a code when you click on one of the registration links. If you go to click on a registration link for a class, it's going to ask you for a code. Okay, that code is available if you have, again, registered for the event. So much like the session room links, if you are logged in and have a ticket to the 2020 event, the training, if you scroll down to the bottom of the training page, you'll see the training code that you'll need to enter to register for one of the classes. Some of the classes are full, but many are still accepting waitlist, and we encourage you to go ahead and sign up for a class if you think that, even if it's full or waitlisted, because with free events, things happen and people tend to fall off, right? So again, encourage you to do that. We also say that please only register for one training. Class seats are limited, and we really want to ensure that everyone gets an opportunity to participate in the class of their choice. The trainers will be sending out the Zoom training room links either sometime early next week, maybe even as early as tomorrow. I'm not sure. Each individual trainer is managing it themselves, right? So once you've registered and you're in a course, expect to get the login information for that training class directly from the trainer. In addition to the training classes that are being offered throughout the day, we will also have a keynote at 12 p.m. So whether you're able to participate in training or not, we encourage you to come back and check out the keynote at 12 o'clock. The links to the keynote will also be posted live sometime early next week as well. And those will be offered only over YouTube Live to allow for max participation and not be limited by the Zoom rooms. We're just going to have all of our keynotes will be presented over YouTube live streaming. So let's talk about the main event, right? So Thursday and Friday is all sessions all day. We've shifted our schedule a little bit to take into consideration we have folks from different time zones. So our first session will begin at 10 a.m. and will end around 6 p.m. I believe it's actually 6:15 on the schedule. There will be up to 4 sessions happening simultaneously. So we have 4 separate virtual rooms, which contain the 4 different sessions that will be going on at the same time. Every day, the keynotes are at 12. There are no sessions being held during the keynote timeframe. There is approximately an hour and a half dedicated to the keynote, as well as an opportunity maybe to take a break and grab some lunch. Every session is 45 minutes long, with a 15-minute break at the end to allow for a transition between one session to the other. Both the schedule, including the My Schedule, displays those primary and alternate video links next week. So if you're logging in right now and you're not seeing links and you're confirmed you have a ticket, don't worry, you're fine. We haven't posted all of those links just yet. So look for those different primary and alternate links as early as next week, ideally or no later than Tuesday. And again, remember, right? Be logged in and have a ticket to see those links. Birds of a feather. We talked about this and we thought, DrupalCon Global did birds of a feather. Those seem to go well. So we're going to try virtual birds of a feather sessions as well. So we have a single virtual room that is dedicated to birds of a feather sessions. On the website, there's a birds of a feather session page where you can view the schedule for people who have already registered their BOF, Or if you yourself have an idea for a session, a BOF session that you want to hold, please use the links on the BOF page to go ahead and register for that session. So we're using a separate external tool to our website to help with BOF scheduling, but both the schedule as well as the ability to sign up for BOFs is available directly from our Birds of a Feather page on the website. So anybody can schedule a BOF, and then the link to the actual BOF virtual room, again, will be posted early next week. So in addition to participating in sessions and building out your schedule using the sessions, I recommend early next week, maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday, checking out the BOF schedule. There's a couple on there right now, but we expect those to fill up over the coming days. Networking. I don't know about you guys, but for me, one of my favorite things about Drupal events is the opportunity to talk to folks in the hallways, in between sessions, those conversations that happen with the speaker after the sessions are over. When we talked about it as a planning team and tried to think about how can we mirror that same experience, or at least be able to offer something similar to it. And that's where this networking room comes in. We will have an entire virtual room, a Zoom room that is dedicated to networking, or what we call hallway conversations, right? And so that will again be open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Thursday and Friday. There are a few scheduled sponsor presentations, about 15 minutes. We encourage you to stop in, see what they have to say, talk to some of our vendors, say thank you to them for helping to sponsor this event. We would not be able to offer it were it not for our sponsors. So there is a networking room schedule on our website as well underneath program that will let you know which sponsors are presenting when and the other time blocks where the room is open. Next week, the link to that room will be published on that page. And anytime you want to continue a conversation that you feel would be better held with audio and video rather than just text, feel free to jump into that networking room and use that space. It's a Zoom room that also has the breakout room functionality turned on. So if there's a couple of folks in there at the same time and you're having very separate conversations, feel free to use the breakout room functionality that's available within that room as well. So again, check out the schedule, see when the sponsors are presenting, and feel free to pop in and out. In addition to hallway conversations being able to happen in Zoom, again, we encourage you to join our Slack team, and there are multiple channels for all of the different session tracks, as well as other opportunities to follow up with speakers, things of that nature. That's where a lot of the text-based conversation can be held. So networking either in a Zoom room or in our Slack team as well. Contribution. So one of the things that we've always loved to be able to offer is a multi-day contribution opportunities. And this year is no different. It's just going to be virtual and a little bit more structured. So at this point, there are contribution opportunities on Thursday and Friday between 10 and 4. You must register in advance if you want to participate. That way, the folks that are organizing the contribution sprints can reach out to you and make sure that you have all of the tools necessary to fully participate. There are some topics that are being focused on each day. Wednesday, there's a Code Contribution 101. So if this is the first time you've ever participated, we recommend that you go ahead and sign up for that. Oops, sorry. That you sign up for that to understand what's involved and what the process works like. You'll also have the opportunity to focus in on a local development setup session. So if you're just getting your local setup, you can participate in that and work to get your local setup. Thursday, and that is being held on Wednesday. So kind of a prep for the primary contribution opportunities being held on Thursday and Friday. Thursday and Friday, the current two focus areas are Drupal 9 readiness, as well as the live captioning initiative. So if either of those things are of interest to you, please check those out. If you have ideas for other things that maybe you want to work on, I don't believe the contribution team is limiting us to those things. Those are just their focus areas. So I encourage you to, again, join our Slack team and use the contribution channels to reach out if there is something other than those two things that perhaps you're interested in being able to do. But at a minimum, those audit items are there. Check out the contributing page on our website for additional details and information on how to register. Volunteer opportunities. So I mentioned this at the very beginning. We are an entirely volunteer-run event. Our entire planning team is volunteer, as well as the people that support the actual event physically during the day. Again, all run by volunteers. Our largest need, or volume need right now, is what we call our room monitors. If you've ever participated in a Drupal GovCon before, we've had room monitors that are there physically to make sure that the speakers are set up properly, that they have what they need, and to help us get a sense of the number of participants that chose to attend. We still need that functionality, we just need it in a virtual sense. So room monitors will be there to ensure that the speaker is able to share their screen, use the audio video, hit the record button, and help with Q&A. We have some additional volunteer opportunities, a virtual help desk, right? So if you feel really comfortable using Zoom or YouTube or Slack, and you want to be able to help troubleshoot attendee issues that they might be having, that would be very helpful. Tech support, it's almost a sort of a tier 2 level. So, the virtual help desk provides that initial support, but people that are experiencing additional issues may need some additional technical support, and you can serve in that way. Again, additional room monitors for the networking room, making sure that folks are able to get in and use the room the way that it's intended to be used. Code contribution volunteers, if you want to help make the code contribution process work well, please consider that. Floaters, meaning, hey, I'm kind of willing to do anything. I'm available maybe between 10 and 12. We'll take those as well. That way we can kind of plug you in where we have vacancies. And we also need help for people serving as a keynote stage manager. The keynote stage manager is very similar to the room monitor. It's just held in the time zone with the keynote, and slightly different because we're not using Zoom as a method for delivering our keynotes. The ability to sign up for any of these volunteer opportunities, as well as a description and more detail of these different volunteer roles, are available on our website. Underneath the program menu, there is a volunteer link, as well as the description for the volunteer roles. So please consider checking that out. This event really does depend on its volunteers to go smoothly. So what do I do now, right? I'm an attendee. What should I do to get ready? Well, the first thing and the number one thing we say is really make sure you have that 2020 ticket, right? If you don't have a 2020 ticket, you're not going to be able to access the links that will take you to those rooms, right? So that's your number one thing. And you can see here on my screenshot here towards the bottom, that is a screenshot of the registrations table on your user profile. So if you don't see a 2020 registration, you're going to need to go ahead and register for the event. We don't expect to have a wait list this time around, a virtual event. We think people will pop in and pop out, and we don't have the same physical space limitations like we do at our facility at NIH. So we encourage everybody to register and participate as much as they are able to when they are able to. Even if you only want to be able to attend one session or do one training, we still need you to register for the event. Check out the training opportunities, right? It's not too late. There are still some that have openings that Wednesday. So see if there's something that's there that's of interest to you that you'd like to participate in. Check out the BOF schedule. Consider setting up your own if there's an issue that you want to talk about. So any topic there is available for you. Take a look at all of our sessions and build your schedule. So when you're viewing the list of, as long as you're logged in, when you're viewing the schedule, every session will have a add to my schedule button, which you can use to then build your schedule, which will then make it a lot easier to find the links to the sessions that you want to see, right? Familiarize yourself with our code of conduct, right? Not much has changed, right? We just ask people to be nice and behave, right? And to continue to do that in our virtual environment. Another reason why our room monitors are important, if we have an unlikely event where someone does come in and try to Zoom bomb or something like that, our room monitors can be there to help assist and deal with that issue. We're not expecting that. We've tried to take some extra security precautions to try to limit, Zoom bombing or anything of that nature. But again, familiarize with our code of conduct. Make sure you understand exactly how it is that we all expect to treat one another. I don't think there's anything in there that you wouldn't expect to see. And then it was mentioned in the beginning, we have some merchandise that is available in our store. the Drupal GovCon website has a store link, which will take you to an opportunity where you can check that stuff out as well. And again, just to kind of close out, a special thanks to all of our sponsors. You know, when you transition from a physical event to a virtual event, you're a little unclear of, you know, are your sponsors still going to be willing to participate? What can you offer them that varies? We have been very, very lucky, and we are very grateful to all of our sponsors who stood with us and continue to support us in this virtual event and sort of the new 2020 way of doing things. So again, a special thanks to our sponsors. And that kind of closes things out, everything that I wanted to cover. At this point, I can open it up. If anybody has any specific questions, I would be happy to address those. Thank you to those of you who posted some of the links in the chat box, as well as the join link for our Drupal GovCon 2020 Slack workspace.